My name is Jessica Morgan and I'm 31 years old. 8 days ago, my mother left her seventh voicemail in 3 days, her voice desperate and breaking. Jessica, please pick up. I know you're angry about what happened. I know we hurt you. But Dad's in the hospital. The business is failing. We're losing the house. Please, we need you. We need your help. You're the only one who can save us. Please call back. I listened to the message while sitting in my living room, my wife Emma beside me on the couch we'd bought together, in the home we'd built together, living the life my family had declared dead 2 years ago. Are you going to call them back? Emma asked gently, holding my hand. No, I said, deleting the voicemail. Dead people don't make phone calls. They made that very clear. 2 years ago, my family held a funeral for me. Not a metaphorical one. An actual funeral with 60 guests, black clothing, flower arrangements, eulogies, and a framed photo of me on a table surrounded by candles. They mourned my death while I was very much alive, 30 miles away, because I'd committed the unforgivable sin of marrying a woman instead of the man they'd chosen for me. They declared me dead, disinherited me in front of everyone, and told me never to contact them again. Now they needed the dead daughter to save them. And I was about to teach them that resurrection comes with conditions they'd never accept. Before I tell you how my family's cruelty became their downfall, please like and subscribe if you enjoy these stories. I'd love to know where you're watching from. Now let me tell you how being declared dead gave me the freedom to finally live. I grew up in a wealthy, conservative family in Connecticut. My father, Robert Morgan, owned Morgan Financial Services, a wealth management firm serving high-net-worth clients. At its peak, the company managed $400 million in assets and generated about $6 million annually in fees. My mother, Catherine, didn't work but managed the family's social standing, serving on charity boards, hosting fundraisers, maintaining appearances in the community where reputation meant everything. I have one older brother, Jonathan, who joined the family business at 25 and was being groomed to eventually take over. We lived in a 6,000 square foot house in Fairfield County. I went to private schools where tuition cost $50,000 a year. I was expected to attend an elite college, marry an appropriate man from an appropriate family, have children, and maintain the Morgan family legacy and social position. That was the script written for me from birth. I followed it perfectly until I was 23. I graduated from Boston College with a degree in finance. I was dating a man named Bradley Westbrook, whose family owned a successful law firm, exactly the kind of match my parents had always hoped for. Bradley was handsome, successful, came from money and checked every box on my parents' list. But I wasn't happy. Because I was hiding something I'd known since I was 15. I was gay. I'd spent years suppressing it, dating men I felt nothing for, trying desperately to be the daughter my parents wanted. Bradley proposed when I was 24, perfect timing according to my parents' timeline. Everyone was thrilled. My mother started planning the wedding immediately, booking venues, hiring planners, designing invitations. It was going to be the social event of the season, 300 guests, $200,000 budget, everything. Perfect and impressive. But I couldn't do it. 2 months before the wedding, I met Emma at a friend's party. She was a teacher, making $48,000 a year, living in a modest apartment in Boston, the complete opposite of my wealthy Fairfield County bubble. She was kind, funny, passionate about her work, and beautiful in a way that made my carefully constructed straight facade crumble immediately. We talked for 4 hours that first night. She made me laugh, made me think, made me feel things I'd never felt with any man I dated. I went home that night and cried because I realized I couldn't marry Bradley. I couldn't live a lie forever. I needed to be honest about who I was. I broke off the engagement 3 weeks later. I can't marry you, I told Bradley over dinner at the expensive restaurant he'd chosen to discuss wedding details. I'm so sorry. But I can't do this. It wouldn't be fair to either of us. What are you talking about? Bradley asked, genuinely confused. Everything's planned. The wedding's in 7 weeks. Everyone's invited. I know, I said. But I've realized I can't go through with it. I'm not in love with you. I don't think I ever was, and you deserve someone who is. He was hurt, confused, angry. He demanded explanations I wasn't ready to give. We argued. Eventually he left. I sat in that restaurant alone, feeling both terrified and relieved. I'd taken the first step toward being honest. Telling my parents was harder. I drove to their house the next day, Sunday afternoon, when I knew they'd be home. They were in the living room, my mother reviewing wedding seating charts, my father reading the Wall Street Journal. "I need to talk to you both," I said. "I broke off the engagement with Bradley." My mother looked up, shocked. "What? Why? What happened? Did he do something?" "No," I said. "Bradley's fine. But I can't marry him. I don't love him." "Cold feet," my father said dismissively. "Completely normal before a wedding. You'll work through it." "It's not cold feet," I said. "I don't want to marry Bradley. I don't want to marry any man. I'm gay." The silence was deafening. My mother's face went pale. My father slowly set down his newspaper. "What did you just say?" he asked quietly. "I'm gay," I repeated, my voice shaking. "I've known for years. I tried to deny it, tried to be what you wanted. But I can't anymore. I can't marry Bradley. I can't live a lie. I'm sorry." "You're not gay," my mother said firmly. "You're confused. You're nervous about the wedding. This is pre-wedding panic. Lots of brides experience it." "I'm not confused," I said. "I've been suppressing this my entire life. Pretending, dating men I didn't want, trying to be straight. I can't do it anymore. I'm gay. And I need you to accept that." "We will not accept that," my father said, his voice hard. "This is a choice you're making, a rebellion, some kind of phase. You are not gay. You're a Morgan. Morgans don't do this. Being gay isn't a choice," I said. "It's who I am. I didn't choose it any more than you chose to be straight." "Then you'll unchoose it," my mother said. "You'll go to therapy. There are programs that help with this kind of confusion. We'll find you help. We'll fix this before anyone else knows." "There's nothing to fix," I said, my voice rising. "I'm not broken. I'm gay. And I'm not going to conversion therapy or whatever you're suggesting. I'm going to live authentically. And I hope you can accept that." "We will never accept that," my father said, standing up. "You're destroying your life. You're destroying our family's reputation. Do you understand what people will say? Our daughter a lesbian? Dating women? After breaking off an engagement to the Westbrook boy? The scandal alone will destroy us in this community." "I don't care about the community's opinion," I said. "I care about being honest about who I am." "Then you can be honest somewhere else," my father said. "If you're going to choose this lifestyle, you can choose it without our support. Without our money. Without our name. Get out of this house." "Robert," my mother said, but she didn't argue with him. "I mean it, Jessica. If you're going to embarrass this family, destroy your future, throw away everything we've worked to build, you can do it on your own. Leave Veggie. Now." I left. I went back to my apartment, the one they were paying for while I worked at a consulting firm making $58,000 a year. I called Emma, crying, telling her what happened. She came over immediately, held me while I cried, told me everything would be okay. "You did the right thing," she said. "Being honest is always right. They'll come around eventually." But they didn't come around. My father called the next day. "Your apartment lease is in my name. You have 30 days to move out. Your credit cards are canceled. Your car lease is in my name. Return it by the end of the week. You want independence, you'll have it. Completely." I found a small studio apartment in a worse neighborhood, $900 a month that ate half my take-home pay. I gave back the car and started taking public transit. I bought groceries at discount stores instead of Whole Foods. I lived on a budget for the first time in my life. It was hard. Terrifying. But it was also freeing. For the first time, I wasn't living under their control, their judgment, their expectations. Emma and I started dating. Officially. She was the first person who loved me for exactly who I was, not who I was pretending to be. 6 months after coming out to my parents, I proposed to Emma. She said yes. We planned a small wedding, 40 people, friends who actually supported us, at a beautiful garden venue in Massachusetts where same-sex marriage was legal and celebrated. Neither of my parents attended. Neither did my brother, who'd stopped speaking to me entirely. I sent them an invitation anyway, hoping they might surprise me. They didn't. If you've ever been rejected by family for being yourself, if you've ever been cut off for not fitting their expectations, leave a comment below. Subscribe if you want to hear how my family took their rejection to a horrifying extreme. Because what happened 6 months after my wedding was something I never could have imagined. Emma and I got married in early May, surrounded by friends and supportive family from her side. It was small, intimate, and perfectly us. We honeymooned in Italy for 10 days, my savings completely depleted, but worth every penny. We came back to our small apartment and started building our life together. Emma continued teaching. I got promoted at my consulting firm, bringing my salary to $72,000. We saved for a down payment on a small house, budgeted carefully, lived modestly but happily. 6 months into our marriage, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Jessica? A woman's voice said. This is Claire, your cousin. I'm calling because I thought you should know what happened at your parents' house tonight. What happened? I asked, confused. I hadn't spoken to any extended family since coming out. Your parents held a party, Claire said, her voice shaky. They invited the whole family. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone. 60 people. They said it was an important family announcement. Jessica, they held a funeral for you. While you're alive. What? I couldn't process what she was saying. They set up the living room like a funeral. They had your photo on a table with flowers and candles. They wore black. They gave eulogies about how you died to the family when you chose your lifestyle. Your father said you were dead to the Morgan family, that they were mourning the loss of their daughter who'd been corrupted by sin, and chosen a path that killed the Jessica they'd raised. I felt sick. They actually did that? In front of everyone? 60 people watched, Claire said. Some people walked out. I walked out. I thought it was sick. But most stayed. Your mother cried through the whole thing, talking about grieving her dead daughter. Your father announced you're officially disinherited, removed from all estate documents, no longer a Morgan in any legal or familial sense. He said anyone who maintains contact with you will be cut off from the family. Jessica, I'm so sorry. I thought you should know. Thank you for telling me, I managed to say. Claire, do you have any details? What exactly did they say? Your father gave a speech, she said. He said Jessica Morgan died the day she chose homosexuality over family. He said the daughter he raised is gone, replaced by someone living in sin. He said they held this funeral to formally mourn her death and move forward without her. Your mom talked about how much it hurt to lose a child to the world's corruption. They played a slideshow of photos of you as a kid, like a memorial service. It was disturbing, Jessica. Really disturbing. After we hung up, I sat in my living room processing what I'd heard. My parents had held a literal funeral for me. They'd gathered 60 relatives and mourned my death while I was 30 miles away, alive, happy, married to someone I love. They'd turned my existence into a performance of grief and rejection. Emma found me crying an hour later. What happened? She asked. I told her. She held me while I sobbed, not from sadness but from rage. They're showing everyone who they really are, Emma said. Anyone with sense will see how cruel this is. But most of the family took their side. Over the next weeks, I received messages from relatives I'd grown up with, people I thought loved me, saying they couldn't maintain contact. Your parents asked us to choose, they'd write. We have to choose a family. As if I wasn't family anymore. My grandmother, my mother's mother who'd always been kind to me, sent a letter. Jessica, I'm so sorry for what your parents did. That funeral was wrong. Disturbing. I told your mother she was making a terrible mistake. But I'm 84 years old and dependent on your parents financially. If I defy them, they'll cut me off from family contact, maybe even from the care I need. I can't risk that. Please understand. I love you. But I can't openly support you. I understood. But it hurt. The only relative who maintained contact was Claire, and she did it secretly, texting from a hidden number, meeting me occasionally for coffee where no other family would see. Your parents are doubling down, she told me 3 months after the funeral. They tell everyone you're dead. If someone mentions you, your father says your name is not to be spoken. Your mother removed all your photos from the house. It's like you never existed. Good, I said, and I meant it. If they want me dead, I'm dead. I don't need their approval or their presence in my life. I have Emma. I have real friends. I have a life they'll never control again. And I built that life. Emma and I saved enough to buy a small house in a suburb outside Boston, 3 bedrooms, modest but ours. We adopted a dog. Emma became department chair at her school, her salary increasing to $65,000. I got promoted to senior consultant, $88,000 annually. We were happy, stable, building something real. 2 years after the funeral, I was thriving. My relationship with Emma was strong. My career was progressing. I'd made peace with my parents' rejection, built a life without them. Then Claire called again. Jessica, your family's in trouble. Big trouble. Your father's firm is being investigated. Apparently he made some questionable investments with client money. There are lawsuits, regulatory investigations. The firm might collapse. And your father had a stroke last month. He's in the hospital. Your mother's desperate. Why are you telling me? I asked. Because they're going to contact you, Claire said. Your mother's been asking how to reach you. She wants your help. I'm dead, remember? I said. They held a funeral. They're reconsidering that now that they need you, Claire said bitterly. Suddenly the dead daughter might be useful. 3 days later the first voicemail arrived. Then another. Then another. My mother's voice getting more desperate each time. Jessica, I know we haven't spoken. I know things ended badly. But your father's very sick. The business is failing. We're losing everything. Please call back. We need to talk. Family helps family in crisis. Nor. I didn't call back. Emma and I discussed it extensively. They declared you dead, Emma reminded me. They held a funeral. They cut you off completely for being yourself. Now they want help? That's not how family works. Part of me wants to help, I admitted. Not for them. For some sense of closure. To show them I succeeded despite their rejection. Then help on your terms, Emma said. But don't let them manipulate you into thinking you owe them anything. The voicemails continued. 10 days later, my brother Jonathan called. Jessica, it's Jonathan. I know we haven't talked since you came out. I know I handled that badly. But Dad's in bad shape. The stroke affected his speech and mobility. He can't run the business anymore. Mom's panicking. Everything's falling apart. Can we please talk? I called him back. What exactly do you want from me? I asked. I want to meet, Jonathan said, face to face. Explain the situation. See if there's any way you can help. I know Dad and Mom treated you horribly. I know about the funeral thing. I was there. I went along with it. I'm sorry for that. But they're still our parents. And they're in serious trouble. We met at a coffee shop in neutral territory. Jonathan looked exhausted, older than his 35 years. Dad's firm is collapsing, he said. He made unauthorized trades with client funds trying to recover losses from bad investments. Clients are suing. The SEC is investigating. We're looking at criminal charges, civil lawsuits, bankruptcy. Dad's in the hospital recovering from the stroke. Mom's drowning in legal bills. They might lose the house. That sounds terrible, I said. But I don't understand what it has to do with me. I'm dead, remember? You attended my funeral. Jonathan flinched. That was insane. I know it was. Mom and Dad went too far. Way too far. But they're desperate now. And you're the only family member with the skills to help. What skills? I asked. You work in consulting? You understand finance, business restructuring, crisis management. You could help navigate this situation. Maybe help reorganize the firm, deal with regulators, find a path forward. You're smart, capable, and your family. I was family until I married Emma, I said. Then I became dead. A corruption that killed the daughter they raised. Those were Dad's words, according to people who were there. So why would a dead, corrupt daughter help? Because despite everything, they're still your parents, Jonathan said. And because you're a better person than they are. You're happy, successful, thriving. You've won. Maybe you can afford to be generous to people who hurt you. Have they apologized? I asked. For the funeral? For disowning me? For cutting me off financially? For turning the entire family against me? Jonathan was quiet, not in so many words. But they're suffering. Isn't that enough? No, I said. Suffering isn't the same as remorse. If they want my help, they need to apologize. Genuinely. Not because they need something, but because they're actually sorry for how they treated me. I don't think Dad's capable of that, Jonathan admitted. Pride is all he has left. Then, he'll have to lose that too, I said. I'm not helping people who declared me dead unless they're willing to acknowledge I'm alive, and that they were wrong. Tell them that. I left that meeting feeling both angry and sad. Angry that they thought they could use me after everything they'd done. Sad that even now, facing complete ruin, they couldn't simply apologize. 2 more weeks passed. More voicemails from my mother, increasingly desperate. Jessica, the lawyers are saying we could lose everything. The house, the savings, all of it. Your father might face criminal charges. Please. I'm begging you. Help us. I finally called her back. Mom, it's Jessica. She started crying immediately. Oh, thank God. Jessica, I've been so worried. I've been trying to reach you. We need you. This situation is so bad. Your father needs you. The father who declared me dead 2 years ago? I asked. The father who held a funeral for me while I was alive? That father needs me? Silence. Jessica, that was a mistake. Your father was hurt, angry, not thinking clearly. He thought clearly enough to plan a party, invite 60 people, set up flowers and candles, give a eulogy about how I was dead to the family. That takes planning, Mom. That's not a mistake made in anger. That's a calculated public rejection. He regrets it, she said weakly. Does he? Has he said that? Has he called to apologize? Has he acknowledged that what he did was cruel and wrong? He's had a stroke, my mother said. He can barely talk. He's facing criminal charges. He's lost everything. Isn't that enough punishment? Do you need him to grovel? I need him to apologize, I said. I need you to apologize. Not because you need my help, but because what you did was wrong. You held a funeral for your living daughter because she married a woman. You turned the entire family against me. You removed me from your lives completely. And now you want me to save you from consequences you brought on yourselves? So you're going to let us lose everything? My mother asked. Let your father go to prison? Let us end up homeless? Because of pride? I'm going to do exactly what you did to me, I said. I'm going to declare you dead to me. You're not my parents anymore. The parents I had died the day they held that funeral. I'm just mourning that loss, like you mourned mine. Goodbye, Mom. I hung up. Emma found me shaking. Are you okay? She asked. I don't know, I said honestly. Part of me feels guilty. Part of me feels relieved. Part of me feels nothing at all. You don't owe them anything, Emma reminded me. They made their choices. They're facing consequences. That's not your responsibility to fix. But the calls kept coming. Jonathan called. Jessica, please reconsider. Dad's situation is getting worse. The feds are pushing for prison time. Mom's having a breakdown. I can't handle this alone. You have the whole family, I said, the 60 people who attended my funeral. Ask them for help. They don't have your skills, Jonathan said. And frankly, most of them are distancing themselves now that there's a scandal. People who supported Mom and Dad are running away because they don't want to be associated with the investigation. Interesting how support disappears when it's inconvenient, I said. Now you know how I felt. Claire called too. Jessica, I don't blame you for staying away. But I want you to know your dad's really sick. The stroke was serious. He might not recover fully. If you want any chance at closure, maybe having a final conversation, this might be the time. What would I say to him? I asked. I'm sorry you're sick. I'm sorry you're facing consequences for fraud. I'm sorry that holding a funeral for me didn't protect you from your own bad decisions. Maybe just that you've moved on, Claire suggested. That you're happy. That despite everything they did, you're thriving. Sometimes showing someone they didn't break you is the best closure. I thought about it for days. Emma and I talked it through endlessly. I think you should go, Emma finally said. Not for them. For you. So, you can close this chapter completely. See them one last time. Make your position clear. Then walk away forever, knowing you gave them a chance they didn't deserve. She was right. I called Jonathan. I'll come to the hospital. I'll see Dad once. But Emma comes with me. She's my wife, my family, the person I chose. If they can't accept her presence, I won't come at all. I'll make sure they understand, Jonathan said. We drove to the hospital 3 days later. Jonathan met us in the lobby. Dad's in room 412. Mom's with him. I told them you were coming. I told them Emma was coming too. Mom wasn't happy about it, but she agreed. She doesn't get to be unhappy, I said. She lost that right when she held a funeral for me. We took the elevator up, walked down the sterile hospital corridor. Room 412. I knocked, and entered. My father was in the hospital bed, looking older and frailer than I remembered. My mother sat in a chair beside him, looking exhausted. They both stared when Emma and I walked in hand. "Hello," I said. "Jessica," my mother said, starting to cry. "You came. Thank you for coming." My father tried to speak, but his words were slurred from the stroke. "Jessica." "I'm here," I said. "Jonathan said you needed to see me. Said you needed my help with the business situation. So let's talk. But first I need something from you." "Anything," my mother said desperately. "An apology," I said, "a real one. Not because you need my help. Because you're genuinely sorry for what you did. You held a funeral for me. You declared me dead. You turned my entire family against me. You erased me from your lives because I married a woman. I need you to acknowledge that was wrong." My mother looked at my father, then back at me. "Jessica, we were hurt. We didn't understand. Being gay isn't a rejection of you. It's an acceptance of myself, and you responded by mourning my death while I was alive. That's not hurt, that's cruelty." My father managed to speak more clearly. "You embarrassed us. I existed as myself," I corrected. "And you were more concerned about what the community thought than about your daughter's happiness. So let me be clear. I came here today to tell you that I don't need your approval anymore. I don't need your money. I don't need your acceptance. I have a beautiful wife, a good career, a happy life. I thrived without you. Will you help?" my mother asked. "With the business? With the legal situation? Why should I?" I asked. "You declared me dead. Dead people don't help with business restructuring." "Please," my mother begged. "Jessica, I'm sorry. We were wrong. The funeral was wrong. Cutting you off was wrong. I was terrible. I let your father's pride and my concern about appearances override my love for you. I'm sorry. Truly, sorry." "Are you sorry because you mean it?" I asked. "Or because you need something from me?" "Both," she admitted. "I'm sorry for what we did. And I'm desperate for help. Can those things both be true?" I looked at Emma. She squeezed my hand, leaving the decision to me. I looked back at my parents, both broken in different ways. "Here's what's going to happen," I said. "I will consult with your attorneys. I will review the financial situation. I will give you advice on how to handle the regulatory investigation. But I'm doing it as a paid consultant, not as your daughter. You'll pay my standard consulting rate, $300 an hour. Everything will be professional and documented. I'm not doing this out of family obligation. I'm doing it as a business transaction." "We don't have money to pay you," my mother protested. "Then you'll pay me from whatever assets you have left," I said. "Or you can find another consultant. Those are my terms." "And will you be part of the family again?" my mother asked hopefully. "You declared me dead. Well, I'm staying dead to this family. I'll help you professionally if you accept my terms. But we're not rebuilding a relationship that died at the funeral you held. You can't bring it back just because you need something." My father managed to speak again, clearer this time. "You're punishing." "No," I said. "I'm protecting myself. You taught me that family is conditional. That love depends on conformity. That acceptance is earned by meeting expectations. I learned that lesson well. And now I'm applying it. I don't meet your expectations of who I should be. But now you don't meet my expectations of what parents should be. So we're even." I stood up. "Think about my offer. If you want professional consulting help, have Jonathan contact me. We'll draw up a contract. Otherwise, this is goodbye." Emma and I walked toward the door. "Jessica," my mother called out. "I really am sorry. Even if you don't believe me. I'm sorry for all of it." I paused at the door. "I believe you're sorry you're suffering. I'm less convinced you're sorry about what you did to me. But maybe that's enough. Maybe you'll learn something from losing. Everything like I had to learn from being declared dead. Either way, you have my offer. Personal help on professional terms. Or nothing. Your choice." We left. "In the parking lot?" Emma asked. "Are you okay?" "I think so," I said. I didn't realize how much closure I needed until I saw them broken. Not in a vindictive way. Just in an honest way. They can't hurt me anymore because I don't need anything from them. 3 days later, Jonathan called. They want to hire you, your consulting terms. Can you meet with the attorneys next week? I did. I reviewed the full situation. The unauthorized trading, the client complaints, the regulatory violations. It was bad. Very bad. But not completely unsalvageable. I spent 40 hours over 2 weeks analyzing everything, meeting with attorneys, developing a restructuring strategy. At $300 an hour, they owed me $12,000. I sent the invoice. Jonathan called. They don't have $12,000 in liquid assets. Then they can pay me from whatever they get when they sell the house, I said. Or they cannot pay me and I'll put a line on their remaining assets. I did the work. I get paid. They paid. Slowly, from the sale of my mother's jewelry, from liquidating retirement accounts, from whatever they could scrape together. I helped them negotiate a settlement with regulators. Criminal charges were reduced to civil penalties through plea agreements. My father avoided prison, but paid massive fines and lost his licenses permanently. The firm closed. They sold the house, downsized to a small condo, lived on Social Security and whatever was left after legal fees and fines. Through it all, I maintained professional distance. I was their consultant, not their daughter. I sent invoices, had professional meetings, and gave strategic advice. But I never had personal conversations. Never asked how they were feeling beyond professional necessities. Never rebuilt emotional connection. 6 months after I started consulting, the crisis was resolved as much as it could be. My father wasn't going to prison. My mother wasn't going to be homeless. They'd lost most of their wealth and all of their social standing, but they'd survive. The final invoice was sent. The final payment was made. I sent a formal email closing the consulting engagement. My mother called. Jessica, now that the business is settled, can we talk? As family. Can we try to rebuild? No, I said. We had a business relationship. It's concluded. We're not family. You made that clear at my funeral. That was 2 years ago, she protested. People change. We've learned. We've lost everything. Hasn't that taught us enough? Maybe it has, I said. But it doesn't mean I'm obligated to let you back into my life. You're not entitled to forgiveness just because you suffered consequences. You're not owed a relationship with me just because you finally apologized under duress. So you're going to stay dead to us forever? She asked. You're the ones who killed me, I said. I'm just staying in the grave you dug. You wanted me dead. I'm giving you what you wanted. I hung up. That was 3 months ago. I haven't heard from them since. Emma and I are still happily married, 4 years now. I got promoted to partner at my consulting firm, and my salary jumped to $140,000. We're planning to start a family soon, considering adoption or RVF. We have friends, community, a life full of people who love us for exactly who we are. Sometimes I think about my parents in their small condo, stripped of wealth and status, living with the consequences of their choices. I don't feel triumphant about it. I don't feel vindictive. I just feel neutral. They made decisions. I made decisions. We're all living with the results. Claire still updates me occasionally. Your mom asks about you, wants to know if you're okay. I tell her what I can without betraying your privacy. Tell her I'm happy, I say. Tell her I'm thriving. Tell her that being declared dead was the best thing that ever happened to me because it forced me to build a life without them. A life that's better than anything I would have had if I'd followed their script. My grandmother, the one who wrote me apologizing, but saying she couldn't openly support me, died 6 months ago. She left me a letter to be delivered after her death. Jessica, I'm so sorry I wasn't braver. I should have stood up for you. I should have walked out of that terrible funeral. I should have told your parents they were wrong. But I was afraid, and old, and dependent. Please forgive me. You deserved better. I've watched from a distance as you've built a beautiful life with Emma. I'm so proud of you. You became the person you were meant to be despite everyone trying to stop you. That takes courage I never had. I love you. Grandma. I cried reading that letter. Not from sadness, but from the bittersweet realization that she'd seen me, truly seen me, even when she couldn't say it out loud. She left me $20,000 in her will, kept secret from my parents. Use it however you want, the lawyer told me. She specified it was for you and Emma to build your life together. Emma and I used it as part of the down payment on a bigger house with a yard, room for the children we were planning. We planted a garden in Grandma's memory, roses like the ones she used to grow. Every time I see them bloom, I think about how even people who can't be brave in life can still leave love behind. My brother Jonathan and I maintain an awkward but civil relationship. We meet for coffee every few months. "I should have defended you," he said at our last meeting. "At the funeral when Dad was giving that speech about you being dead, I sat there like a coward and said nothing. I'm sorry for that. Why didn't you say anything?" "Why didn't you say anything?" I asked. "Fear," he admitted. "Fear of losing my inheritance, my place in the family, Dad's approval. I chose security over doing what was right. And I've had to live with that." "You're living with it in a small condo where Dad can barely speak and Mom has panic attacks," I said. "That's what choosing security over integrity gets you." "I know," he said quietly. "I see that now. You lost everything when you came out. But you rebuilt something real. I kept everything, and it all turned out to be worthless anyway. The money, the status, the approval. All of it disappeared the moment things got difficult. You could still choose differently," I offered. "You could rebuild your own life separate from them." "I'm trying," he said. "I got a job at a different firm. I'm starting over. Maybe eventually I'll find what you found. Purpose beyond their approval." Last month, Emma and I went to our first ultrasound. We're having a baby, a girl, due in 6 months. We used IVF with Emma carrying, and we're beyond excited. We haven't told my parents. They don't get to know their granddaughter. They declared me dead, which means they declared all my future children dead too. They don't get to suddenly decide they want to be grandparents when they wouldn't be parents. "Do you think you'll ever tell them?" Emma asked. "That they have a granddaughter they'll never meet?" "No," I said. "They made their choice. I'm making mine. Our daughter will grow up knowing she's loved for exactly who she is. She'll never know the grandparents who would have rejected her mother. She'll be better off. We're naming her Helen after my grandmother. The one who couldn't be brave enough to stand up for me publicly but who loved me privately. The one who apologized even though it couldn't change anything. The one who left me money with a note that said, 'Live freely, love openly, and never apologize for being yourself.' That's the legacy I want to pass down. Not wealth or status or social standing. Just unconditional love, and the courage to be authentic." My parents held a funeral for me because I chose to live honestly. They tried to bury me with their disapproval and rejection. But what they didn't understand is that you can't bury someone who's already free. Their funeral just gave me permission to stop trying to resurrect a relationship that had been dead long before they lit the candles, and gave the eulogies. I'm 31 years old. I'm married to the love of my life. I'm having a baby. I'm a partner at a successful consulting firm. I own a beautiful home. I have friends who love me unconditionally. I have a life full of joy and purpose and authenticity. And I built all of it after being declared dead by the people who were supposed to love me most. Sometimes the best thing that can happen is being cut free from people who are holding you back. Sometimes being declared dead is what allows you to finally start living. My parents wanted to mourn the daughter who chose homosexuality. I let them mourn. And while they were busy performing grief for an audience, I was busy building a life they'll never touch, never control, never diminish again. 3 days ago I received a letter in the mail. My mother's handwriting on the envelope. I almost threw it away without opening it. But curiosity got the better of me. Inside was a single page, handwritten. "Jessica, I heard through Jonathan that you're having a baby. A daughter. Congratulations. I hope you'll be a better mother than I was. I hope you'll love your daughter unconditionally in ways I failed to love you. I'm sorry for the funeral. I'm sorry for everything. I know you don't believe me. I know it's too late. But I needed you to know that I see my mistakes now. Losing everything taught me what matters. Unfortunately, I learned that lesson after I'd already lost what mattered most. You, and I hope you're happy. I hope your daughter grows up knowing love I couldn't give. I hope someday, maybe years from now, you might let her know she has a grandmother who regrets every moment she wasn't brave enough to choose love over reputation. But I understand if that day never comes. You owe me nothing. Live well. Love well. Be free. Mom. I showed the letter to Emma, What do you think? She asked. But sorry doesn't undo the funeral. Doesn't erase the years of rejection. Doesn't change the fact that she chose appearances over her daughter. So what will you do? Emma asked. Nothing, I said. I'll keep the letter. Maybe someday, when Helen is old enough to understand, I'll show it to her. I'll explain that sometimes people learn too late. That sometimes apologies come after the damage is irreversible. That sometimes you have to protect yourself even from people who claim to love you. And I'll make sure she understands that her worth is inherent, not conditional. That she never has to earn love by being someone she's not. I put the letter in a box with other mementos from my old life. Photos from before I came out, due. Cards from childhood birthdays. The invitation to my funeral that Claire had sent me. The one my parents had created announcing my death to the family. All evidence of a life I used to live, a family I used to belong to, a daughter I used to be. That daughter is dead. They were right about that. She died the day I chose authenticity over acceptance. But someone better was born from those ashes. Someone who knows her worth. Someone who builds her own family from people who choose her every day. Someone who can look in the mirror and love the person looking back. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been rejected by family for being yourself, if you've ever had to choose between authenticity and approval, leave a comment. Subscribe if you believe that sometimes being declared dead is the beginning of truly living. Share this with someone who needs to hear that you don't need family approval to build a beautiful life. You don't need their acceptance to know your worth. You don't need their blessing to be happy. Remember, the people who try to bury you don't realize you might be a seed. That being forced underground might be exactly what you need to grow roots strong enough to break through concrete. That being declared dead might give you the freedom to be reborn as exactly who you were always meant to be. My parents held a funeral for me because I married a woman. They mourned my death while I was alive, and building a life more authentic and joyful than anything I could have had following their script. They're the ones who lost. They lost a daughter, a granddaughter, and years they'll never get back. I lost parents who never really saw me, never really loved the real me, only the version they tried to force me to be. And, honestly, that's not a loss. That's liberation. I'm not dead. I'm more alive than I ever was in their world of conditional love and performance. I'm raising a daughter who'll never know what it's like to hide who she is. I'm married to a woman who loves me without conditions. I'm living a life that's messy and real and mine. And if my parents want to keep mourning the daughter who died when she chose authenticity, let them mourn. Let them sit in that grief they created. Let them live with the consequences of declaring their living daughter dead. Because I'm done carrying their disappointment. I'm done trying to resurrect a relationship they buried with their own hands. I'm dead to them. And I've never been more alive. That's not a tragedy. That's poetry. That's justice. That's freedom. And freedom, it turns out, looks exactly like a life where you're loved for being exactly who you are, not who someone else needed you to be. My parents wanted me dead. I gave them what they wanted. And in doing so, I finally learned how to live.